It is office hours. I'm coming to you live from one of my offices, and this is here at Pachamama. It's not actually my official office here, but if anyone knows me, they know that I love Pachamama coffee, and I love the farmers who made the coffee, including this guy right here. He's a good friend of mine. I feel like we're friends. I don't know if he knows me, but I know him. I know his coffee. It's great. I am coming to you live here from, again, Pachamama, and I'm in one of the secret rooms here. There's someone that sometimes sits in the secret room who's not named Cruz, and I often feel like I'm stealing his office from him. So I hope he doesn't walk in on me at this point. I hope that I can take this office for a little bit longer. I got my shot of espresso right there. I'm ready for your guys' questions. This is what makes your guys' questions really light up for me. The plant-based energy is great, it's one thing, but to be able to have a shot of espresso waiting for me right there, that's very exciting. So I'm gonna sit down. Hey Shirley, how are you? Thanks for always tuning in. What's going on, Stan? Thank you for sharing. Yeah, let's get everyone in the room. I'm gonna sip my espresso as we get ready here. I'm gonna spin the chair a little bit. But first you have to wet the palate. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. You have to wet the palate. Yeah, that's just a little sparkling water. That just gets the palate nice and wet so that you can really enjoy the fresh aroma. I'm tasting a lot of chocolate. Yeah, that's fresh. What questions do you guys have this week? Part of the office hours, again, isn't just watching me drink espresso. It's only part of it. The real thing here is to give you guys a chance to ask away, ask your questions. So, these questions can range from anything under the sun related to therapy, psychology, anything you could possibly think of. It could relate to whole foods, plant-based eating, something I'm passionate about. It could relate to things related to weight loss. You name it, I think you name it, we are absolutely able to get to it. So I have a few questions that people have been asking me recently that I will go over during this short office hours. And I say short, it's only gonna be short if I don't get a ton of questions. I'm like that professor in college that says, my office hours go from this time to that time, and if no one shows up, then I'm not gonna hang around. I'm gonna go home. I got a kid at home. I got 2 kids at home ready to play with. And so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of your questions as I take more of this espresso shot. Ashley's saying we need to give it a redo. You do need to give it a redo. Espresso is, I'll tell you what, it is an acquired taste, but it is the best afternoon remedy that you could possibly have. Remedy to what, I guess? See, the espresso's already hitting me. I'm speaking with excitement without even necessarily not being necessarily sure what I'm saying. It's a remedy for being tired. It's a remedy for wanting some more inspiration. I don't know. It's good stuff. Let me take a quick swig here. And as I do, I will tell you, Shirley, that we actually did interview Chef AJ. Go back to the vault. She was, I want to say, episode number 7 or episode number 8. So we did actually interview Chef AJ. I'm trying to find the right lighting in here. My gosh, everything is like, I think that last one was like TLC Red Light Special. I don't know if I like that one. I don't think I like any of the lighting in here. Whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as the espresso's flowing through my veins, we're fine. We did interview Chef AJ. I want to say it was episode number 8 or episode 7, but if you go back and look at the episode vault that we have on the Dr. Mondo page here, you'll see that from her, and we definitely want to get her on again at some point. It was a great interview. We had a few technical glitches at the beginning of it, and I think we lost some following that we wanted to get her on there, and so we've talked about getting her back on. She'll be back on soon. So there's that. What else do you guys got for me? Something I'll say that's been coming up a lot this week. People have been asking, and that's about the 30-day plant-based immersion that we are doing, and that, what are the details behind that? Essentially, the plant-based immersion is something that I do not because I'm a licensed plant-based coach, but just because I really enjoy giving back and paying it forward. And if you are interested in going plant-based, there's so many amazing groups out there, a lot of which are free. Mine's not the only free group, but it's a free group where we just support each other. There's lots of tools out there to use. Use Forks Over Knives Meal Planner. Use the Forks Over Knives app. But I think what's cool about our group is that a lot of us are at different stages and everyone's supporting one another regardless of whether you're thinking about transitioning or you are transitioning. It's a great way for you to be able to get in a supportive environment, get some recipe ideas. We try to motivate one another. And so we have about 430 or 440 people in the group right now. And a lot of those people, believe it or not, are either plant-based in terms of what they're doing today, or they're trying to go plant-based. So I think it's really cool when we get more and more people in there. So if you're interested, you just go ahead and Ashley can drop in a link down below, or you can find us under the groups tab on this page, and you can add yourself, request to be added to the group, and you will be added to the group, and we will get you in there. So that's the plant-based immersion group. The other question that we had recently was coming from someone that emailed in, and they said, this Slaying Shame tour, tell me more about it. What's the Slaying Shame tour? For that, I will need one more shot of espresso. Not one more shot, one more sip. See, I'm almost done here. It just tastes so good. Once it hits your lips, it's just amazing. Okay. Slaying Shame Tour, what is it? Slaying Shame Tour it's basically this round of talks that I'm going to be doing. It's going to start in New Jersey. We have New Jersey on May 17th, and then we have Baltimore or the DC area on the 21st, that Monday night. And we've been in Chicago, we've been in Kansas City on the Slaying Shame Tour. We're going to be in the Bay Area here in Northern California. We're going to be in Sacramento, I believe, in June. So what the Slaying Shame Tour is it's just, we're calling out to everyone out there who right now feels hopeless. They feel like their story's been written. It can be you feel hopeless because you feel like your weight loss journey has been a failed one. You lost the weight, you gained it back. It is targeted towards people in their health transformation community. But basically, anyone that's feeling a lot of shame right now, we're basically trying to create a community where you basically have the ability to come out and find a community of people where we're encouraging you to come out of hiding and no longer be in shame. On top of that, we're also going to connect you to resources where you can get back on track, get back on your journey. So what I'm doing is I'm spreading my message of basically slaying shame, which is the Rewriting Your Story program. And I'm encouraging people to rewrite their story. I'm encouraging people, and if you've heard my message, you know what it is. You're not the number that the scale says. You are worthy, you're lovable, but these are things that you can't just repeat into a mirror like they did on Saturday Night Live. You have to actually believe them in your core being in order to not just transform your story, but to be successful long term. So again, the Slaying Shame Tour is going to be happening on the East Coast. We'll also be we've already brought it to the Midwest. We'll bring it back to the West Coast. It's speaking events that you can show up to. You can get a chance to interact with other people that are looking to let go of shame. You're basically going to have a room full of people that all at one point said, I felt like I was written off. I felt like I was a failure. I lost weight and I gained it back. I tried eating plant-based for 3 weeks. I couldn't cut it. I feel like I'm too old. I feel like my genetics are telling me that everyone in my family's got hypertension. I'm destined for that same fate. Anyone that feels ashamed, we're basically saying come to a safe environment where we're there to basically encourage and inspire you, uplift you, and give you tools to begin rewriting your story immediately. It's a completely free event. You could go, you could get just all of the messaging and the good vibes and the research and the tools that I share, and you could take it home and you could do your own thing. And as long as you end up, experiencing success, that's all I care about. Obviously, you'll hear more about my program at the Slaying Shame Tour. You'll hear about the gyms that we're partnering with, the programs that they have. Part of my mission isn't just to give you this message of empowerment. It's also to pair with other gyms and weight loss centers that get this stuff. And when we find these gyms and weight loss centers, we really try to make it an effort to partner with them. That way, we can basically say they're vetted, they get it, they understand this stuff. They're not gonna be some meat market environment that's just there to collect your money. They're here because they wanna watch you transform. They're here because they wanna give you the tools and the resources. Results Gym, the Lift Gym, P2P, Fit Code, Bar None Training, Fitness Optimist, Cloud 10. These are all gyms that are around the country right now are taking it and making it an effort to say, we want to be different. We want to offer our members a different experience. We don't want to just give them a nutrition program. We also want to be able to give them opportunity to do more. So if that is you and you are someone that wants to get help, coming out of shame, if you're someone that really wants to get help rewriting your story, then come out to one of our events that we're going to be having again, New Jersey on the 17th, DC, Baltimore area on the 21st, and then we're back in California in June, and we'll be in Northern California in Sacramento. So come out to those events. That's what the Slaying Shame Tour is. It's basically just me taking my message, the research I've done with The Biggest Loser, me taking my message of empowerment and what I've seen, be essentials to being successful long-term in your journey, helping people rewrite their story, renegotiate their relationship with food, taking all of that information and turning it into a 1-hour talk, and then giving you a bunch of resources in your local community that are going to help you be successful. We will also be launching something else really exciting and cool. I mentioned it only a couple different places. I mentioned it, I think, the other night on the Facebook Live, and I mentioned it on a podcast that I did that will be out next week, which I'll give you guys a link to. But we are also writing a book, and that book is going to come out next year, maybe sooner. I'm going to try to undercommit, over-deliver on that. But the book is going to be conjunctive to all of the messaging. I'll tell you more and more details as we go, but this book, my goal on it is to make sure that it's small, it's affordable, so everyone can get their hands on it, everyone can get through it, but it has the foundations. My prompt for the book is this: if I had just one little, small stack of pages to put in front of you that I think could change your life, what would it be? What would I say on those pages? That's the challenge. But after years of sharing this message through public speaking, after years of doing interviews and spending time with clients, I think I've really got it boiled down to what a few of those things are. I boiled it down to a series about 7 or 8 core beliefs and values that I believe you need to rewrite your story. So that's going to be the book, and the book will be coming out, as I mentioned, again, January of next year at the very latest, if not sooner. There's going to be brand new video lessons that come out way ahead of the book. Those video lessons will be available by the end of the month. I'm so excited. So if you haven't done the Rewriting My Story program, you can do the program. Not only will you get, I think we have like 35 lessons in the video vault with journals and all that other stuff, you also will get the new video lessons that we have that are going to accompany the book that'll be coming out. So again, we just got more and more stuff that we're trying to roll out. While I'm talking about the bigger picture stuff, if you haven't heard me say it, I'll say it to you now. And again, if you guys have questions, go ahead and jump in. What is the overarching goal here? Honestly, it's not about getting this program in more people's hands. The overarching goal is to turn this industry on its side. Meaning that in 10 years, I always say this, but in 10 years, I want to be able to talk to a room full of people that really have a heart to help. And have those people be in the room and say, isn't it amazing that 10 years ago we thought the emotional side of this was never part of the equation, that 10 years ago we never treated it? There was a time where people smoked cigarettes and they never knew that there was a warning or a danger to it, right? Not shaming anyone for smoking cigarettes, but obviously now we know that to be smoking cigarettes means that you'll probably have an adverse health effects linked to that. We also know that about certain foods that you put into your body. But in 10 years from now, I want to look back and go, wow, someone walked into your office and you wanted to help them with a health transformation, and your first instinct was not to include counseling or not to include psychological support. I want that to seem crazy. So my bigger goal, and everything that you see me doing links back to that mission. My mission is to change the way we treat obesity, to change the way we help people. And that's why I think the Rewriting Your Story program, this idea that you have to learn how to love yourself at your core if you want your health transformation to stick, If you really want to get what you want to ultimately get from your health transformation, which is self-love and self-worth, you have to put equal emphasis in that transformation. The same work you're putting in the gym, you have to also put internally on working on yourself. And so I believe that people need a roadmap on how to do that work. They need a roadmap to the changes they're going to go through psychosocially when they lose weight in order to be successful long term. I believe that we can really transform lives that with the right resources, and I'm just one branch of this, but with the right resources and the right networking, we can all get together and we can help people lose weight, keep it off, live their best lives, and continue to help more and more people as they go. So again, that's kind of more of the broad message of what this program and what the Facebook Live, all of it has that one goal in mind, that we want to flip this on its side. And it's not that I want everyone to abandon what they're doing and work with me. I just want to work with everyone that you're working with. So if you have an amazing coach, if you have an amazing personal trainer, if you have an amazing gym community, I just want to partner with them. And not every gym community and not every coach thinks this emotional side matters. I've heard people tell me it's all in people's heads, it's all an excuse. There's no such thing as an emotional relationship to food. People are using their past as an excuse as to why they do what they do, and flat out, I'll just take a stance on that. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you because I think if you sat with me like today, I saw 6-7 clients. If you sat with me today in session for 30 minutes, your entire view would change. You have to really sit with someone. Taken out of context, we all seem strange. So many people have shame about why they do what they do because they don't have compassion for it. They don't understand it. You have to understand yourself, and that's what this story is all about. That's what this program is all about. Rewriting My Story is helping you rewrite your story, to help you understand that, like for me, being a latchkey kid growing up, every time I got anxious or lonely, I would reach for food. And I could still live that out today if I wanted to. I choose not to, but knowing that about myself, doesn't mean that it's my excuse that I ride to obesity. It means that it's something that I use for my self-awareness to better myself. I had to have compassion for that little boy that was scared and lonely before I could actually help him. And if I kept shaming that part of me that got anxious and lonely and always reached for food, then I found myself in the same yo-yo over and over again. And some of you are living that right now with shame. So again, you have to be able to step outside of that. And again, there's some people that don't get it. They say it's all about willpower. It's all about the equation of calories in, calories out. Let me tell you right now, I'm not against the equation of calories in, calories out. That stuff matters. It absolutely matters. But unfortunately, it's more than just calories in, calories out. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, there is more to our relationship to food than simply just that equation. And so again, that's what this greater mission is that we're trying to accomplish. We're not trying to replace or reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to join people that are already doing amazing things. And we need trainers. I'm not going to be the one giving nutrition advice. We need good coaches. I'm not the one to coach you in the gym, but I do want to help you with your mindset. I do want to help you with all the emotional components. And that's what my career is dedicated to. So again, I hope this office hours gave you a little bit of a slice of that. I'm going to go back up here. I know there was a couple questions. I need to utilize the app more. I'm not sure which app you guys were talking about. I'll have to go back and take a look at that. BJ, who is our guest next week, thank you so much for joining us. BJ, cannot wait to talk to you and hear your story. And BJ is going to be on Tuesday's episode of Rewriting My Story. She'll be sharing her amazing transformation. Maria says, I have 2 coworkers that are now plant-based. Told them to check you out, Armando. Thank you, Maria. And I know that you recently got back in the 30-day immersion group, and we're getting excited about getting going a little bit more. So I appreciate that. Hopefully all of you guys will be in there. Let's see what else we have here. Michelle Souza, hey, how are you? You're doing amazing things and your babies are beautiful. I think that's definitely true. At least the second part is 100% true. I'm not sure about the first part, but I appreciate that very much. And yes, I agree with you. The babies are very beautiful. Sharon says, hey, BJ. Sharon is my coach. I cannot wait to meet her. Again, I'm in the red light special right here. Maybe I need to walk outside this room. Plus, I'm sure they probably need it. Someone knocked on the door earlier, so I think I'm being kicked out of this office. But anyway, so Sharon, I cannot wait to meet you. It's just going to be so awesome. Sharon's coaching me it'll be 8 months, Sharon, believe it or not, on the 5th. And yeah, so on the 5th of, which is like in 2 days, it's gonna be 8 months. I absolutely cannot wait. Okay, I'm gonna walk outside here. I'm gonna act like I'm not on Facebook Live because then people start to think you're weird. So let's just kind of turn the phone back like this. Here we go. Oh. Okay, well, we made it out alive. I don't think anyone's coming after us. This is one of my offices. My other office, I don't know if they know that, but it really is to me. Pachamama Coffee. Anyway, I'm out of the secret room and I'm back now on my way home. But again, Sharon, I cannot wait to see you. It's gonna be 8 months of being plant-based. And I know you always think that I'm always giving you way too much credit, but I don't think I'm giving you nearly enough. Without Sharon McRae, my life would not have changed. Bottom line, I would not have been able to do half of what I've done in my Whole Foods plant-based journey if it wasn't for Sharon. And so again, I just thank you so much. And I cannot wait to give you a big hug and eat some Indian food with you and have you meet some other really important people in my life while I'm out there. And it's just gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a film crew to document all of it, so all of you, everyone else will get a chance to see it too. We're gonna have a videographer, Daniel Robertson, my videographer. My right hand, Ashley Cook, who does everything, including photography. She's an amazing photographer. She will be out there too. And so anyway, we're gonna have photographs and video of all of the Slaying Shame tour, but including the chance when I get a chance to meet Sharon. So I can't wait for that. Looks like we got some more comments kind of coming in here. Yeah, let's get to more comments here. Shelly, I have lost 50 pounds a zillion times. My first diet was in 5th grade. Oh my gosh, 5th grade, yeah. I don't know if mine was in 5th grade or somewhere around then, yeah. I just admitted to myself in the last year and a half the emotional point I began abusing food, and that has been a game changer. So you admitted the point that was where you began abusing food. Awesome. Emotional eating is legit, and I've lost another 50, not dieting, just changing habits, working out and being consistent. Still more to go. Glad to hear you say that. Wow. That's rewriting your story, guys, right there. Going back and being able to look back at your story and say, wow, you know, like maybe there was more to my story than meets its eye, and really being able to look back and go, what was going on for that little fourth grader or 5th grader, and why was food playing that sort of role in my life? Not from a judgmental standpoint, but more from a compassionate standpoint. And when you start to really look at your story in that lens, I'm telling you, everything changes. And it's not just for food stuff. That's one thing that I'll say. You know, when I do therapy all day long, I don't just do therapy with people around food-related stuff. I'm rewriting people's story around self-worth that has nothing to do with food in some instances. I'm helping people change their relationship with shame with people that have never struggled a day in their life with being overweight. And that's just to say how far-reaching these struggles are for all of us, that so many of us can relate to it in some way, shape, or form. And again, you have to rewrite your story in order to really start having those beliefs not just become good statements, but actual things that you believe in your heart. We love Sharon. I love her too, Julie. I'm not the only one. She says, all you, it's not. Shelly, I lost 60 pounds 6 times in the past 30 years. This is the only way to eat to sustain my weight loss. 60 pounds 6 times in the past 30 years. Well, this is not one thing I want to have you beat on, BJ, but I think I've done it like 7 or 8 times. And I am convinced that this is the time it's going to stick. One thing I'll say about that too is that, you know, in addiction theory, they talk about the theory of missed attempts, meaning that you could lose weight and gain it back like 6 or 7 times. In the addiction world, you can get sober like 6 or 7 times, but the 7th time it sticks. And so this idea that we have in weight loss culture a lot of times is that if we didn't keep it off, it was a failed attempt. I don't believe that to be true, because I think that every time you learn something, like I'll be interested to talk to you more about that next week, BJ. Did you learn something every time that you gained the weight back? Even though you gained the weight back, obviously there was parts of it that you hadn't learned. It led you to the Whole Foods plant-based way of eating. But I think too often we throw out the baby with the bathwater. We go, oh gosh, you know, there's nothing successful because I gained the weight back. Forget that. I remember this last time that I lost the weight. Prior to that, I really loved myself. I loved myself like 70 pounds heavier. And to a point where I was almost really comfortable with that, but all that was left then for me to get healthy was I got to have more energy for my kids. So that's what became my why. It wasn't about shame about my weight. And so when I lost the weight, I was almost like, oh, I guess I'm different. But a lot of my self-concept didn't change because I really learned how to love myself being at a bigger weight. And so for some of you right now that are out there thinking, oh, I've lost it 5 or 6 times and I gained it back, this is a failure. BS. If you could love yourself today at the weight you are now, it is a success. Do not count it as a failure. The scale is only one measurement, and might I say it's often a flawed measurement of your success. So just again, contextualize all of that. Again, there's a few more comments here. Mark, I hear your story. It makes me so grateful that my parents raised me from birth on a plant-based diet. That's crazy. I'm 66 and never tasted meat or what? Like, Mark, that is your story out there, Mark? I'm sure you've written it somewhere or like done a video, but I want to read that. That blows my mind to think about that. And then it also makes me think I have a daughter right now that is 6-7 weeks old. She has that opportunity because my wife now is really kind of rolling with the plant-based stuff, and obviously so am I. That would be crazy. I'm on the fence though, Mark. Like, did you ever feel left out? Did you ever feel like, like you were missing out on something? Because that's my biggest fear is I wouldn't want to push my kids in that direction. I'd love to show them that direction. But then when they get to that age, like I don't want them to feel weird or ostracized or like it's all these rules, because then I feel like they would revolt against it naturally because that's what kids do. But I could be so wrong. And obviously it worked for you, Mark. So I want to hear more about that. That's really awesome. Yes, Shelly says, I've learned something every time. Again, there's people out there that are listening and watching right now. You are not a failure. You are not a failure if you lost and gained the weight back. You are so not a failure. Get out of hiding. Get out of shame. Shame, oh man, shame fires me up. And that's why we have the Slaying Shame tour, because we have to slay this stuff. So many people are in isolation and hiding because they're ashamed of themselves. And honestly, it just boils my blood because if we were in shame's war room, if we were in shame's locker room, that's the simple game plan to isolate you. If shame can keep you from the gym, if shame can keep you from reaching out to friends or seeing your friends because you're embarrassed, then shame wins. And not only does shame win, but early death wins too. And I want all of you guys to not die early, and I want all of you guys to have happy, fulfilled lives. And sometimes the way we can just knock the shame off is to say, no, like right now where you're at, you can love yourself where you're at right now. Right now you can believe you're worth it. Right now you do deserve to go out and enjoy yourself, even if you're not at the ideal weight. It starts with loving yourself right now in order to unlock that potential in yourself. So again, I'm so fired up about that. Chef AJ did an interview with you. Okay, I definitely want to see that. I want to see that interview again because Mark said that 66 years and he's never had dairy or meat. His parents raised him like that. How cool is that? I'm blown away by that. Sharon says, my kids were raised vegetarian but gave up dairy at ages 6 and 10. Never looked back, and now they're 15 and 19. I hope I get a chance to meet your kids because I want to talk with them too about that. And I think that story is so impressive and amazing. I think as long as it's this thing like, this is what we do, and we want you to do it, and this is the way we eat in this household, I think that, I just wonder how that comes across to kids. Like, I know now, my son, he eats a lot of fruit because he sees me eating fruit. And it's kind of scary because to think if I wouldn't have made the change, what would he be eating? The more that he follows me, the more that, yesterday he put on a Giants hat for the first time. He never wants to wear hats. He put on a Giants hat and he actually wore it. Now he's wearing it all around the house. And that's because I was wearing a Giants hat. And that's what the people at the store were saying. Well, he's emulating you. That may, again, the pressure's on for us parents in a lot of ways. We can't be too hard on ourselves, but we have to be conscious. They are watching. And if we are, what we're putting in our mouth, they're going to start putting in their mouth. They're going to start thinking that's okay. And if we're fueling our bodies with the ultimate versions of food that can truly fuel us in positive ways, they're going to learn that. They don't have to unlearn the bad habits like we had to. So that's so key. Let's see. Yeah, Ashley says, I'm so happy Mark tuned in. I'm so happy too. Mark would be a great guy to talk to at some point. Ashley might want to stay in touch with him. All right, guys. Speaking of kids, I better go home and get to those kids. Yesterday I got a chance to go to a Giants game with my son Antonio and one of my good friends and his son, and it was just, it was the best. I'm still riding the waves of that just experience. We got to sit right behind the dugout, and both boys got balls from the dugout, which was so cool, to have the players in the dugout and the coaches acknowledge the kids and throw them balls. It was just so cool. Both my friend actually, who I went with, runs a baseball academy. He was a really successful baseball player, and now he runs a baseball academy. And we were just talking about how cool it is because we grew up loving the sport. But to watch your kids fall in love with this sport through their eyes is just the coolest thing ever, because it transports you back. I mean, some of you people probably know, some of you guys already know this. It transports you back to when you were a kid, so you get to be a kid again, which I'm always looking for opportunities to do that. And then the other thing too is that there's just like, whatever joy I had in loving the Giants or loving baseball, I want him to have like triple or quadruple the love that I had, or triple or quadruple the experiences that I had in growing up loving them. And so that's my big thing for him. And so anyway, I'm riding the wave off that. I want to go home and throw the ball around with him today. So I think that's what I'll go do. And anyway, I thank all of you guys for tuning in to these office hours and to tuning in to all the videos and the things we're doing. I just want to say that the wave is happening, and it's because of you guys, all of you guys that follow. Some of you, like Shirley, who is on here today, and Sharon, and BJ. Some of you guys are here on every single broadcast. And let me tell you, just a window into my life, this is not my full-time job. My full-time job is my full-time job, and that's to do therapy with clients, and I love it so much. But when I get off, this is the next thing that I do to pour my energy into. And it's weird to say that I actually leave work, do this, and I leave with more energy than I started with. And that's because of how much I enjoy it. You know, doing those Facebook Lives every Tuesday night, doing these speaking tours while I'll be away from the family for about a good week. Honestly, like, it's tough in a lot of ways. And I'm so thankful to my wife that she supports me and allows me to do these things, because she sees the bigger picture. But again, when you're on that road and you have this vision of how you want to help people, how you want to change lives, you really need people along the way just every once in a while just say, hey, I see what you're doing and it's making a difference. Or not even that, just people sharing the stories. Like, I have a couple right now, Crystal and Eric Fontaine, who they're not watching right now. I went to grad school with Crystal, and I've known Eric for a number of years now too, and they're married. And honestly, one of the greatest gifts I've had, and I don't know if they know this, but one of the greatest gifts I had was I got a chance to see them a couple weekends ago, and both of them talked to me in depth about Tim Kaufman, about Spud Fit, Andrew Taylor, about Adam Sudd, about Anthony Masalio, about Chef AJ. They knew every single interview that I had done. And they had all this great feedback about what they took from those people and how it impacted their lives. And honestly, like, that just blew me away. It was like, all in that moment, all of the time and the energy put into it is just worth it, because Eric and Crystal are like, if you knew them, you would know. They're just such amazing people. And to see them be inspired, not just inspired, but they're now on over 30 days plant-based. And they now are feeling great. They just sent me a clip of Audible today, and they're almost done with Proteinaholic by Garth Davis, a book that I just mentioned to them when they were here. So when you watch people do that sort of change, it goes so far. So again, I just want to say to all of you that tune into these office hours, to all of you that tune in to the Facebook Live, to all of you that show up to the events around the country, I thank you guys so much, really. And the greatest way that you could kind of fuel this movement is to help me make sure this movement is not, don't get it twisted, this movement is not a Dr. Mondo movement. I know that's my name and that's how you find me on here, but it's not a movement for me. It's a movement to rewrite your story. I would love it if you guys forgot what my name was. You're like, there's some guy that's bald and kind of looks like Dr. Evil, and he was telling me about loving myself and rewriting my story, and I don't know, and I would love for you to forget who I am, but remember the message and share the message and keep it sharing and keep it going and going and going. That's what I hope for. And so again, this message is bigger than me. This message is truly about change. We have to change the way that we help people get healthy. We have to change the way we support people when they're overweight and they say they want help. We have to give them emotional support. We have to pour love into them. That is why we're doing what we're doing. And again, I told you that espresso was going to get me. I'm out here You guys can't even see. I'm out here. I should be at home right now. I'm surrounded by garbage cans. It looks really nice when I just lean against the wall like this, but I'm just next to some garbage cans over here. But it doesn't matter because I'm fired up to talk to you guys. And thank you so much. Joseph says, no, Doc, thank you. You are touching so many people, so many hearts, and raising our quality of life. Yep, again, thank you for sharing that. That goes a very, very long way. And I'm not deflecting it because I'll take that in, but I'll also let you know, again, there's so many people that are pouring into me. Coach Sharon, my wife, Ashley, who just joined the team and has been a huge support. There's so many people pouring into me right now. All the guests that I interview, that it's a compliment, I hope, to them too, because so many people are in my journey and they're responsible for what this message is. To give you a quick window, and I swear I'll shut up after this. 8 months ago, I had this message where I was going around sharing the research I did with NBC's The Biggest Loser. And I was going around sharing this empowering message about rewriting your story, and the research that said most people gain the weight back, but don't worry, that's just because they're not putting an emphasis on rewriting their story. They're not figuring out what their real relationship, their emotional components, and not really attending to those. But I was at a point where I was overweight, and I was really ashamed. Actually, I will take that back. I wasn't really ashamed. I did have a lot of love for myself in ways that I never had it before when I was overweight. But the part that I was ashamed about was I know that I was incongruent. I was out here trying to help people with a message that I wasn't following myself. And that's when I went plant-based, because I knew it was the ultimate solution. And that's when I got Coach Sharon to help me, and that's when my life changed. I would not be sitting here between two garbage cans. Actually, there's multiple garbage cans. There's like 6 or 7. I wouldn't be sitting here amongst 6 or 7 garbage cans on the way home from work if it wasn't for going plant-based. And I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for 8 months ago really realizing I had a daughter on the way. I already had a son that he's now 1.5 years. I needed more energy for those people. But my point being, again, is that plant-based is what got me going in this direction. It's what gave me the energy to come out and not just share the message that I already had, but to expand the message. So now when I go out around the country to do talks, my message is absolutely about self-love and saying that you must love yourself, and that it is about rewriting your story, regardless of what the scale says. But on top of that, it's also giving people a gateway into there is this way of eating where the results are typical, as was said over and over a couple weeks back on the broadcast by our guests and by the commenters. The results are typical. Again, there's a way to eat out there that can change and transform your life. And it makes all the other work that I'm doing with people, the emotional work, the work of getting to the root causes of why people were using food, like it helps eliminate anxiety, it helps eliminate depression. It makes my work so much easier as a therapist to empower someone when they're eating this way. So again, I'm just so glad that I found it, and I wouldn't be standing between 7 dumpsters on a Thursday afternoon going home from work. I would probably be driving to work. I wouldn't be walking home. There's a lot of things that would not be happening right now, including standing amongst these dumpsters. So again, it's all because of plant-based. Thank you so much to everyone to tune in. Again, Tuesday night, BJ Swingle's going to be our guest. We have some more amazing guests lined up the rest of this month. We are coming to you in New Jersey on the 17th, and then we will be in Baltimore on the 21st, and we'll be in Sacramento, and we will be in the Bay Area in June. We can't wait. Slaying Shame Tour. If you want to know more about whole foods plant-based eating, just Google it. There's hundreds of documentaries. Go watch Forks Over Knives. That's the very first one that I recommend that you watch. Read How Not to Die. Read, all the great stuff out there. Proteinaholic if you're afraid of not getting enough protein. There's so much good information out there. Just go get in front of it right now. Go change your life. You can rewrite your story. This is Office Hours with Dr. Mondo. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you on Tuesday.